When it's time to pack up the NXT, you're going to start by taking apart. Once again, when you go to take it apart, you want to take the lid off your bin. You're going to carefully take your computer, open it up, take your diagram of your parts, just like we did at the beginning. You're going to stand it up on your computer so you can see it. Now, you're going to carefully take the red bin, both hands, set it so it nestles inside the lid, and you have it sitting in front of both you and your partner. You're then going to have the lower bin as well. Now, you might have pieces like the cuboid or an arm, and those things may be in the bottom of the bin. If they are, you're going to go ahead and get them out, right? And you're going to take them apart. But your first thing you need to do at the end, before you inventory, is you need to take all of these things apart, put them back in the bins they belong, and then we will go ahead and inventory them again. So I would go ahead and start taking my robot apart. So I might take off a little guide that lets me know how far the tires spin, and I go, okay, that goes in that bottom bin. I would take the tire off. I know the tire goes down in the bottom. If I have sensors attached, right, I'd unhook my cords. Look to see where the pieces go, find the proper bin, put them in, right, find the proper bin once again, put it in place, and you would simply take your sensors, put them in the bottom bins, but we're going to start by taking everything apart. Once we have it apart, you're going to inventory. Now, as you take your robot apart, there's things like this ball bearing. Just leave this inside that part, right? I know it shows it separate on the picture, but just leave the ball bearing in there. Don't worry about popping it out. You're also going to find like tires and rims. Just leave the tires on the rim. So for example, you'll see down here the tire's still on the rim. So when you go to inventory, it'll make it a little easier for inventorying. So just leave the tires on the rims. Now, once you have your robot taken apart and everything's back as best you can in the bins it belongs, you're going to inventory just like you did the first time. And what you're going to need, once again, is you're going to need a pen or pencil and a piece of blank paper. It could be printer paper, it could be lined paper if you have some, but you need a piece of paper and a pen or pencil. Then, just as you did at the beginning, you and your partner are going to inventory each bin. Now, there's a good chance, since we've been changing partners, everything else, that pieces may be all kinds of jumbled up or in the wrong spot. So as you go through an inventory, you might find something that doesn't belong in your bin. Go ahead and just scan the sheet. When you find it, put it back in the bin. Now, having said that, you might also find that you're missing something, and I'll show you when that happens how we would write that down. But so you're going to go through inventorying your kit just as you did at the beginning, making sure you're not missing anything. But we're going to go ahead and start with the red bin. So I'm just going to kind of move that bin off to the side for right now. But it's going to be where you and your partner can both see what you're doing, okay, and you're going to go through the bins together. Now, we're going to go down the column, working our way left to right. So I want both people doing this same bin at the same time. Now you're going to need a pen or pencil to do this. You're also going to need a piece of paper. And what's going to happen is you're going to go ahead and you're going to pull everything out of this first bin. Now, in theory, this bin should be completely correct if it was done correctly the last time, but you may find sometimes there's still some pieces missing. But you're going to go ahead and you're going to take everything out of the first bin, and you're going to make it match what you see on the diagram. Now, what you're going to find, right, is I have these kind of thinner black pieces, and it says 2X. And so there's two little holes and two plus signs. So I'd find that piece, and the 2X means there's two of them. So all I simply do, and you can have both partners help do this, so one person can find the pieces, but you're going to do the same bin at the same time. Then it says 2X of what look kind of like a wrench, so I find those. And you'll notice how I'm just stacking them like the picture shows, so I can see exactly what I have and what I may or may not be missing. So I should have 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it shows 4 of these. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I then have what look kind of like gray letter H's. It should be 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I then should have, sorry, I should have had 4 of those. And I should have 4 of these L ones, and I have 4. And then I have this weird piece, right, that I don't find up here. So I scan my sheet, and I find it's right down here, so it goes in this bin. So I would go ahead and move it to that bin. Now, if you're not missing anything from a bin, you and your partner are going to go ahead and carefully pick those pieces up. And you're going to put them back in that bin. And you're going to move on to the next bin doing the same thing. So I go ahead. I carefully set those out in front of both my partner and I. Right? And you'll notice before I was over here. Remember, you guys can move. Right? So then both you and your partner can either work right here, or you can simply take them out. Make sure you have enough room. Set them in front. So once again, I would go in and I would look at my bin and I'd say, okay, I need 6 of these red ones. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, making sure you're looking at the right part. I then would go ahead and go, okay, I need 8 of these. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I need 2 of these little triangle pieces. So I go 1, 2. I then need 2 of these little red L's. So I find those, set them up. I need a total of 6 of these. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I then need 4 of these. So I go ahead and I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I need 8 of these. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And once again, I'm simply just going down the columns, making sure I have everything in there. 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I need 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I need 2 of the L's. So I have those. I then need 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. And 4 of those. Now, I'm not missing anything from this bin, but I'm going to show you what you do if you would be missing. Let's say I was missing this piece right here. What would happen is it's very similar in shape and size to this piece that's in the bin below. So sometimes it might accidentally get pushed in or dropped in that other bin, right? But if you were missing one of these, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look in the nearby bins for that piece you're missing. So that means you'd kind of go in here and just dig through, making sure you find the piece you're missing. You also might have to come back and just make sure nothing got left attached to a motor or a sensor in the bottom. So there might be times where you need to come check the bottom bin or the other bins. But let's say we were missing one of these. I know I have all 8, but let's say there were 7. What you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of paper, and the first thing you should have on this piece of paper is your first name and last name, your partner's first name and last name, station number, 5 or whatever it might be, and your period number, whatever it might be, okay? But then if I was missing one of these, all I'm going to simply do is take it and trace it out. And I would then go ahead and I'd say, okay, there's a plus sign here, plus sign here. If I wanted, I could also draw the other direction, so I know there's a hole in it, right? And I would simply draw a circle, and I would say there's supposed to be 8 of these times 8 minus 1. I'm missing 1, right? And then if I find it, I would simply put it back in my pile, and I would come back and I would cross it out. But so if I find a piece that I'm missing, I'm going to come over to my piece of paper, and I'm going to write down, tracing it out. Now the other thing I need to make sure I remember to put is what color these are. These are black, so I would write there black. Because sometimes there's going to be some pieces that look very similar, like these. They could be green, they could be blue, they could be yellow, they could be black, they could be red. There might even, for some reason, be a light gray one, right? But so if everything's in here again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them all back. Once again, I'm going down the column and then working my left to right. So once again, I would pull everything out, set it down in front of both my partner and I. And once again, I would look at my sheet and I go, okay, I need 4 red ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 4 of these little tiny plus and a whole black ones, which I have. I then need 2 black 3 connector pins. I then need 4 green ones. Then you have these kind of rubbery ones that you need 4 of. Then I need 4 blue, 4 yellow, and 4 white. All right, and so once again, my partner would be helping me if I had one. And if we have everything, we're going to go ahead and put them back. If I was missing something, I'd mark it down on my piece of paper. I'm then going to go ahead and go up to the next bin. Now you want to be careful, especially on this bin, that you pull your pieces out and you don't accidentally dump them in the side bins. But with the axle pieces, you'll notice they're laid out and they have numbers next to them. That number, right, you'll be told multiple times, there's a page in the back of the book, tells you scale 1 to 1, and a 12 means that it is this length. So if you wanted, you could use the book. But what you're going to do is I like to just simply lay them out the way this graph shows. So I'd find the largest one, there should be 2 of them. Next largest 2, next largest 2, right? And I work my way up, laying my pieces out like I see them on the diagram. But so I carefully pull all those pieces out, and I know, looking at my diagram, that the bottom 2 are black. So I'm going to go ahead and find the 2 largest black ones, and I pull them out. All right, my partner and I would set them in front of us, and I go, okay, that one's a little shorter, so that one's that one. That's a match, so I got 2. Then the next biggest one should be gray, so I find it. All right, and I got 2. Then I go back to a bigger one that's a black one. Find it, and there should be 2 that match. Yep. Then I look up and it says, okay, there should be 5 gray ones that are in the next size up. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I then have 4 black ones that are going next. 1, 2, 3, 4. It then shows me 6 of the next size up, and they're gray. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I then go ahead and it says there's 4 black ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it tells me that I have 14 of these. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I can go right next to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 14. And then lastly, I should have 10 of these red ones. So I go ahead and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what you should be hoping for is what you're finding, and that is that your kit is exactly the way it should be because it was inventoried correctly. You then go ahead, carefully put those back. You'll notice I'm just kind of doing one pile at a time. Now when we get to these next bins, we start to get into some bigger numbers, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that, and now I want you to inventory. So I look and I have 6 beige and 30 blue, and they're what I call 3-pin connectors, and one is a looser 3-pin connector. Now as I'm digging through and pulling out my bin, I make sure I'm not dropping them into the other bins, and I'm being careful when I lay them out on the table. But if you find a piece, once again, like this one as I'm pulling out, I know it doesn't belong here, it belongs in the one down below, so I put it in. But to make your life easier with the ones that say 30, you're going to go ahead and just simply make piles of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I know I have 30 of those, and then I should have 6 of the beige. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I'm good, once again, just pick up a pile at a time, put them back carefully, all right, and go to the next bin. Now hopefully, as you're watching this and doing, you're getting the same luck I'm getting, and everything has been inventoried correctly, so you get it done easily. But once again, if I was missing something, write it down on my piece of paper. I go to the bin down below. You'll notice it's 60 and 10, so make 6 piles of 10, and then 1 pile of 10 for the gray ones. But you're going to go ahead, and you're just going to simply go through bin at a time, working your way down a column, left to right. And once again, if there's 2 of you, you can help divvy up, both partners working on finding a pile of 10, right, and adding up your pieces. Now, if for some reason, this is one where sometimes we end up with extras because you might have grabbed from a wrong group at a time, but any extra pieces you would go ahead and just give to your instructor. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can do my gray ones at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So once again, if I was missing one, I'd write it down on the piece of paper. If I'm not, I carefully go ahead, put those pieces back in the bin. Now if you're like me and you're kind of sweeping off the table, make sure you don't drop them on the floor. If you do, you pick them back up. All right? But once again, I would work my way back up to the top, working my way left to right. Pull them all out. Once again, if I'm looking at my diagram, it says there's 22 of the red ones. So I would make 2 piles of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I then would go ahead. I have 1, 2, and I'm supposed to have 4 of those. All right? But I only see 2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look in the nearby bins. Oh, I accidentally dropped one over here. So that's 3. And I see I accidentally dropped one right here. There's 4. So once again, if they're missing, first thing you do is check the nearby bins. I then have 2 of the smaller gray ones, 2 of the larger gray ones, and 2 beige. And I put them back. So I got everything that belongs in that bin. I carefully take those pieces and I put them back. Once again, work my way down the bin, making sure I have everything I need. That way it's ready for the next group, or if I'm going, it's ready for me to start building. Right? So inventory is the most important, so we make sure we have everything from rotation to rotation. Now I got 8 and 20, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 piles of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got 20. Carefully put those back. And I go to the next bin. Now, the other thing to make sure is, remember, it's not a race. I want this done correctly, not quickly. So on this one, I have 10 and 10 according to my diagram. So if I'm looking, I got 10x, 10x. So I'm going to go ahead and just make my piles of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I got them all, put them back. If I'm missing, write one down. So now I'm going to go to this top bin, just like I did with the axles. I'm going to lay them out, largest to smallest. Once again, if I wanted, I could use the book. But it looks like I should have a bunch of big white axle pieces or frame pieces. And then I should have a whole bunch of gray ones. So I'm going to dig them all out. Once again, carefully trying not to put them in the other bin. So I would go ahead and I go, okay, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these pieces. Then the next largest should be a gray piece, 13. And if I wanted, I could actually count 13 little holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I should have 6 of those. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next piece up should have 11, and I should have 4 of those. So I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next piece up, I should have 6, and they're 9. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I then should have 4 of the 7s. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and lastly, the ones that are 5, I should have 4 of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once again, if I have everything, go ahead, carefully put it back in the bin. All right. I then would go ahead, once again, working my way down, then left to right, go to the next bin. Now, I want you and your partner doing these together, as I've said multiple times now, because I want to make sure both people are familiar and recognize the pieces. So when we go to build, you both can go, oh, I think I saw that piece over here. So I'm gonna go ahead, and once again, I'm just gonna kind of go with the picture. So the upper left, I got 6 of the red L's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then there's these little black T's that there should be 4 of. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have a larger gray L, so there should be 2 of those. Then I have a white L that says there's 4 of, so I got 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. Then I go up and I have 6 of these angled pieces, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then I have lighter gray with an angle. There should be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have the black one that has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those angles. And lastly, the angled double angle. I should have 4 of those. Once again, if I was missing one, write it down. If I'm not, simply go ahead, put them back in the bin as neatly as you can. And we will go ahead and go to the next bin. Now this one's pretty simple, right? I've shown you on the diagram, it shows the ball bearing out. Just leave this ball bearing in, okay? It's much easier and we don't ever need it out, so right now we're just gonna leave it in. But I got 3 of these, 1 of these, right? Pretty quick and easy bin. Now, last bin is all our gears and a couple tires, a few tires. So I once again go ahead and carefully pull it out in front of both my partner and I up. And if I drop a piece, go ahead, make sure you get it right away, pick it back up. But just like before, I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna kind of lay them out in the order I see, so I know I'm matching it and I'm making a connection with my mind to the pieces. So I got the tiny little gear, 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I got the 2 little yellow gears. And then it says I have 4 of these, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it shows I have, find the right gears, and I know it looks a little darker than the thing actually is, but this is the one they're looking at, and there's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then lastly, I have 2 very big gears. Now I'm going to go to the next line, and it shows that I have 1, 2 of these. Then I should have 2 of these, 2 of these, 2 of the Susan gears. Then I have 2 of the worm drive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when it comes to the tires and rims, I know the picture shows them separated. It's a lot easier for inventory and they don't get lost if we just leave them on. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again, if I was missing anything, I write it down. Right now I'm not, because they did an excellent job of inventorying this kit last time, so I just carefully put everything back in. Now, when I'm done with the top bin, I'm going to inventory the bottom bin. The bottom bin is a little different, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. But what you're going to find, right, when you go look at the bottom bin is I need a diagram sheet once again, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I can set my bottom bin out in front of both my partner and I right on top of that red bin. You should have a book. The book should match your station. But you're going to go ahead and you're going to pull everything out of the bottom bin for right now, and we'll put it back as we inventory. Because what you're going to find when we pull everything out is, once again, we have a diagram and it shows you what pieces should be in here. Now, right down here, it shows you a USB cord. okay? We don't have that. We're gonna Bluetooth our robots to our computer, so I've taken this out. So right now, you're not gonna find this USB cord. It's also gonna show you this battery. The battery is already in the bottom of the brick. Do not take it out. So this and this piece right here on the bottom right, do not worry about. But once again, we're gonna go through the bin looking for our pieces, okay, from left to right. But what you're gonna find, it shows you that there should be 54 of these tank tread pieces, and they're pretty cool. You can see they let you do tank treads, right? And depending on which robotics you're in, we might get to them. Now, there's some people that sit there and they go, ooh, bendy, and they just play with it the whole time. That's not what I should see happening. But there's 54 of them, and what you should find is you should have 5 little rows of these. Now, if someone's taken them and snapped them together, right, and made them into a circle like this, sometimes people do this and then they're wearing it like a crown, even though I tell them not to. But if you find that someone's done that, just simply push out and they unsnap. But what you're gonna find is there should be 4 rows, and 4 of them should be even, and then there should be one that's slightly smaller. And what you have is 11, 22, 33, 44, 54, right? And at default, they're all there. We're gonna go ahead, and for right now, we're just gonna set them off to the side. We'll put them in the bin once we've checked everything. I then would go ahead and I'd go, okay, I now need these funky tires that are used for the tank treads, and there should be 4 of those. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? Now, tire and rim, 2 and 2. Just like before, we leave them on, 1 and 2. Now there's this kind of angled body frame piece, and there's a left and a right, and then there's a small left and a right. So there should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 1 and the opposite, 1 and the opposite, right? I then pointed out the brick already. Once again, it should match your station number and your class period number or letter. So I got a brick. It then shows a light sensor, which has 2 little kind of lights on it. I find that, yep. It then shows you 2 touch sensors. So it's got a little button. There's 1, there's 2. Once again, on these sensors, you'll notice they're labeled. Should be matching your robot. I then have ultrasonic eyes. Right here's my ultrasonic eyes, once again matching. I then have a gyro sensor, shows you arrows, okay? Now I should have 2 large motors, 1 and 2. Once again, you'll notice they match your station and your kit. And then lastly, I should have 1 small motor. Right here's my small motor. Now, these 2 I talked about already, we're not gonna worry about. Now, with your cords, as I mentioned, USB cord and battery are accounted for because the battery's in here, in the brick. USB cord you don't have, but you should have a long cord, 2 mediums, and 4 short cords. So what you're gonna do with your cords is you're gonna simply put them up to the end, right? And I'd go, okay, I got 1 long cord, and you can go ahead and drop this one in the bucket. 2 medium cords, and drop that one in the bucket. You then have 1, 2, 3, 4 short cords. So according to my bottom bin, I'm not missing anything, so I would go ahead and I would carefully put all my pieces back in the bottom bucket. Now, depending on if it's the end of the rotation or the beginning of the rotation, your instructor will tell you what to do with the brick. If it's the end of the rotation, you're going to put it inside the bin. When it's all said and done, you're going to have your piece of paper. If you have parts missing, you'll take that up to your instructor. They'll help make your kit whole. You would make sure your book is in the bottom of your bin as well. But you would go ahead, take the red bin, put it back, put the cover back on. Most likely you're going to put your bin right down under your desk where your instructor told you.